were the Rishis, a 4-part video series. Welcome to our short 4-part series on the Rishis, the seers of the infinite and guardians of sacred sciences. In this series, we will learn more about these fascinating supernatural sages and their legacy to the living world today. In Part 1, we begin with an introduction to these sacred seers and ask, who were the Rishis? We look at who they were, what the word Rishi means, the Saptarishis, their extraordinary lifespans and capacities, the Rishikas, and the promise of what they heard. In Part 2, we look at the great stillness and how the Rishis perceived mystical connectivity. In this video, we learn more about the Vedic understanding of consciousness, the tapas required over centuries, and why knowledge received this way does not age. Closes with the promise of Jyotish. Part 3 introduces you to the eye of the Vedas, Jyotish, the science of light. Here we learn about the Rishis and their connection to astrology, Parashara, Jaimini, the Bhrigu Samhita, the Nakshatras, and the extraordinary capacity to perceive across time itself. Finally, in Part 4, we examine the light that never left, the living legacy and bridge to the divine that the Rishis provide. Here we are introduced to the Chiranjivi, the astrologer as bridge, the chart as sacred document, and the closing triple invocation, the ceremony of completion. Now we encourage you to enter into receptive contemplation as we begin our first weaving to the sacred seers. And we ask, who were the Rishis? Before there were cities, before there were kingdoms, before there was writing, or commerce, or the long, complicated story of human civilization, there were those who listened, sitting in deep silence on the banks of sacred rivers, in the high, cold air of Himalayan caves, beneath skies so dark and clear that the stars seemed close enough to touch. These were the Rishis, the seers, the ones who did not seek knowledge the way we understand seeking, through books, through analysis, through argument and proof. They sought it through something far more radical. They became still enough to hear what the universe was already saying. Om, the sound that was before all sounds. The Rishis heard it, and what they heard, they gave to us. Who were they? Who were these enigmatic beings? The word Rishi comes from the Sanskrit root dris, meaning to see. But this is not ordinary seeing. The Rishis were visionaries in the most literal and profound sense. Beings, some human, some considered to be of a different order of existence entirely, who had refined their consciousness to such a degree that they could perceive reality beyond the veil of ordinary sense perception. They did not invent the Vedas. This is the crucial point. The great Vedic texts, the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Atharva Veda, are described as Shruti, that which is heard, not authored by human minds, but received, heard directly from the source of existence itself, in the deepest states of meditation. The Rishis were the receivers, the vessels, the living instruments through which cosmic knowledge entered human form. The tradition speaks of the Saptarishis, the 7 great seers, Vishvamitra, Vasishtha, Bharadvaja, Jamadagni, Kashyapa, Atri, Gautama, said to be among the mind-born sons of Brahma, not born of woman, but arising directly from the divine creative impulse. The Gotra, the spiritual family line of almost every Vedic tradition, traces itself back to one of these 7. And here, we must acknowledge something the tradition states plainly, even if it stretches what we assume is possible for a human being. The Rishis did not live as we live. The texts describe lifespans of hundreds, sometimes thousands of years, not as metaphor, but as a natural consequence of the level of consciousness they had attained, a body sustained by prana rather than ordinary metabolic function, a nervous system so refined that the processes of aging slowed, or in some cases appeared to stop entirely. Vishvamitra practiced tapas, intense austerity, for thousands of years in pursuit of the highest Rishi status. Kashyapa appears across texts spanning multiple cosmic ages, as though time itself bends differently around him. Agastya is described as alive in the subtle realms still, accessible to those whose devotion is sincere enough to reach him. And their capacities were extraordinary, beyond anything we currently consider possible. The ability to perceive events across vast distances of space and time, to transmit knowledge directly from consciousness to consciousness, not through language, but through Shaktipat, the direct transmission of awakened energy, to exist in multiple places simultaneously, to leave the physical body and travel in subtler forms. We can receive this as mythology if we choose, but the tradition is consistent across thousands of years and hundreds of independent sources. These were not miraculous exceptions. They were simply what becomes possible when consciousness is fully developed. The way flight is not a miracle for a bird, but what the form allows. The 7 stars of the constellation we call the Great Bear, Ursa Major, are named the Saptarishis mandala in Vedic cosmology. The 7 Rishis are written into the sky itself, eternal, circling the pole star, watching over all that unfolds below. Beyond the 7, Narada, the divine wanderer, moving freely between the worlds of gods and humans. Agastya, the great sage of the south. The Rishikas, the female seers. Gargi, Lopamudra, Maitreyi, whose wisdom shaped the oldest hymns as surely as any of the male sages. And Parashara, whose name will become very important when we turn to Jyotish. They were not distant or untouchable. They argued with kings and with gods. They had families, students, lineages, feuds. They were completely human and completely extraordinary. Now that you know a little more about these sages who shaped our very understanding of so much about our spiritual essence, we will leave you to ponder and to step into receptivity to their ageless wisdom. In part 2, we go deeper into how the Rishis actually received this knowledge. What does it truly mean to still a human consciousness so completely that the cosmos can speak through it? And what does that tell us about the nature of reality itself? We hope you can join us, and that this inspires you to go deeper on your own spiritual journey and transformative process. To continue watching this series and learning more about our sacred roots, please remember to like and subscribe, and join us soon for more inspiring mysticism.